Greetings, fellow captains, and welcome back to another episode of World of Warships with the Hivehound. And as you would have just seen, today we're going to be discussing the USS Boise, the latest Tier 6 cruiser to be released. Now, the Boise was a light cruiser of the Brooklyn class in the United States Navy. The cruiser was named Boise after the capital city of Idaho, and commissioned in 1938. She saw extensive service during World War II, taking part in fights in the Mediterranean and the Pacific. And following that, she was decommissioned from the US Navy in 1946 and laid idle for several years until she was sold to Argentina in 1951 and renamed Nero de Julio. The ship remained in service with the Argentinian Navy until 1978, which she was then taken back to Brownsville in Texas and scrapped in 1983. So I'm going to hold off. I'm going to do another video about her history because she got into some trouble. Not bad trouble, do you know what I mean? She got involved in quite a few operations, and it's got quite an interesting history. But we're going to talk more about the ship and about its gameplay. Now, it's an American light cruiser, so much like the Atlanta. If you're good with the Atlanta and you enjoy the Atlanta, then you're on good footing already if you're going to jump into the ship. The guns are, again, quite small caliber, and as you can see on these long range shots, they do have quite the arc and quite the steep drop down at the end. So she's pretty good at firing over hills. Not quite as good as the Atlanta, but not bad, although her damage and her accuracy are absolutely incredible. So she is fitted with 15 152mm guns, so that's 5 turrets, 3 guns in each turret. And also, quite possibly the most important thing and the biggest difference about the Boise is she has a heel. Now, if you're a cruiser captain or a destroyer captain, you won't be familiar with these. It's usually something that's only reserved for battleships. As you can see, we've got 3. We've got our repair kit, our repair party, our sonar, and next to that is the 3 heals. We've got 3 heals due to our commander skills. We'll discuss those a little later at the end. And here we go, little sister Atlanta. We've got armor piercing loaded. And at close range, you definitely want to be using the armor piercing on the Boise. She has a absolutely devastating broadside, as we just seen that unfortunate Atlanta took a bit of a beating from us. And as you can see, quite early on, we've lost quite a lot of health, but you can afford to be aggressive in the Boise as we start hitting citadels on the Nuremberg. I was expecting the Nuremberg to change to AP because it's a lightly armoured cruiser, so instead of giving my full broadside and getting all those guns firing away, we kind of missed an opportunity here. We could have finished this Nuremberg off much quicker. So the Nuremberg's trying to duck away behind the island. Obviously we just dodged his torpedoes there. Now, I assumed it was going to carry on sailing behind the island, but then we did have a battleship to the north, so would have been a bit of a silly move by the Nuremberg. So we fire up a hydro, expecting more torpedoes to be thrown at us, and wait for it any moment now. Obviously the Nuremberg done exactly the same. First salvo leaving it with very little health, and second salvo will be the end of the Nuremberg, picking us up kill number 2 and 58,000 damage this early into the game. Now, as you can see, the health bar, we've got 7,000 hit points left, but we do have the joyous green area. The green area is the amount of health that you can potentially recover using your repair party, which is just about to come off cooldown. And we're going to hit that. We should hit that anytime now. Pay attention, Hive. Jeez. There we go. And now we're going to recover a not significant chunk of health. We heal 660 hit points per second over 27 seconds. Over 20 seconds that the repair party can run for. I'm assuming we can extend this as with commander skills, and that's something that I'll look to in the future. But obviously, the ship's only just been released. It's been out a couple of hours. We've had a few games, wanted to get the basics of it. So, like I said, I sort of mentioned the Atlanta and it being similar in its game style. So, battleships and at distance, HE, it's epic at causing fires. It's very accurate. The guns aren't as fast firing at the Atlanta, but they do deal a bit more of a punch. So you have got that advantage. Now, also the Citadel is in the front of the ship, the front half of the ship. The Citadel is actually underwater. I'm basing this off the World of Warships PC models. So this is why I'm only exposing the front sort of third of my ship. The Citadel is incredibly hard to see and hit from the front, especially with us having a nice little bit of angle as well. So we're gonna safely just expose the front third of our ship to these enemies and try and get some more long distance fire going. We're going to creep back a little bit because the Scharnhorst is pushing out and could potentially cause us some trouble. And you see it's just racking up damage and racking up fires. So the Scharnhorst decides to take a shot at us. Misses, does absolutely nothing. And as we switch then to focus our fire on the Aoba. So from range, obviously high AP, you're not going to pen from long range, so we stick to the high explosive, trying to get some fires, and also picking up a couple of defend ribbons at the same time. We will seize an opportunistic moment in a second, and we are going to pull out and finish off that Aoba with some armor piercing. So at close range, anything under 10 kilometers, if a cruise is giving you broadside, you're gonna want to switch to that armor piercing and finish them off really quickly. We did briefly mention the Citadel. The Citadel is in the middle, just between the two large towers in the superstructure. In the centre, the Citadel is above the waterline, so you don't want to be exposing too much of that, because you will take Citadel hits. But you do have the advantage, because you are a light cruiser, we only have 165mm of armour. Some of the larger caliber battleships have a pretty high chance of over-penetrating when they shoot at us. So that is definitely something to take into consideration. Also, something else to take into consideration. I noticed this is the fourth match I played in the Boise this morning. You will find that when you take out any new premium ship, it hasn't happened. This battle, it didn't happen, which I was amazed at. But the previous three, you will become the primary target for absolutely everyone on the enemy team. I might put up the clip if enough people want to see it. It'll only be a short clip, but I was playing with one of my friends, and I was engaged with a Bayern. I was kiting away, so he was not having a great time hitting me because I was kiting away. He was doing sort of very minimum damage. So my friend in this Eisenhower came in between me and the Bayern, and I said to my friend jokingly, "Go on, turn, give him broadside. I bet you he doesn't stop to fire at you and continues aiming at me," which is exactly what happened. So you do need to be prepared and expect to get focused, particularly in a new ship. Premium ships like the Atlanta gets it a lot. Whenever you play the Atlanta, if you're spotted by the enemy team, they do tend to take a bit of a liking to you. So before jumping in and buying the Boise, just little food for thought. Take that into account, that there is a good chance you're going to get focused down, and you can have some games where there's going to be some ships that just make it their mission to try and kill you, regardless of whether there's another battleship giving them a perfect broadside or not. But I did find it amusing and also bizarre that someone would do that. But and Normandy done exactly the same thing in the second match that we played. Completely ignored a broadside battleship to try and shoot at a kiting away Boise just because it's the new kid in town. So we're up to 107,000 damage, and this is when the Pensacola decides to join the fight. It's just myself and another cruiser. So we've obviously he's not given us perfect broadside, but he's given us enough to switch to armor piercing in the hopes of that citadel to finish him off. And we're so confident we started looking away, and we get that citadel hit, pick up the Confederate badge, and kill number 4. So we turn our focus to the final Nuremberg, and is this going to be the third game in the Boise? Is it going to provide us with a nice kraken? We will see. So the Nuremberg obviously has now decided to start accelerating, and my friendly cruiser has seemingly decided to. I don't know whether he's just not been in position, but he's held his fire this entire time. I think he is blocked by the island. So there he is. The Nuremberg stuffs himself into the wall, and my friendly cruiser comes along and steals the kill. We do pick up the Confederate medal, but unfortunately miss out on the Kraken. And we completed a milestone, which, hey, bonus. So we'll have a quick look at the Boise stats and my build to see how we have set this ship and the commander up. So as you can see, we've gone for Norman Scott as our commander here. We're using Madden and for his traverse speed and main battery reload, and also using a Andre Lemonnier for the cruiser detectability range after firing reduction to help keep us that little bit more stealthy. Direct impact is the base trait. As you can see, we're level 12 and legendary 3. Now we've got the choice of burn it down or beyond range. We've gone for beyond range for that extra distance, and gone for igniter as our second perk to increase the damage and skip the torpedo visibility range. We've gone for punch through to give our AP shells more damage and more penetration, and for the final standard perk we've taken fixated to give us more precision and reduced dispersion. For the legendary perk, we've gone for fully packed to give us that extra consumable for heals over the cruiser reload time. It's under 10 seconds. It's 9.8. It would take us down to 9.1. I'd rather have the option to heal that little bit extra damage. So for our upgrades, we've gone for aiming system mod 1. This is to reduce the dispersion of our main battery. Predominantly, we don't have torpedoes, and secondary batteries aren't really worth a thought, but it's probably the best out of all the situations. Our second mod, we've gone for propulsion mod. This will allow us to duck in and out of cover a bit quicker. And the concealment mod increases incoming fire dispersion, reducing how much damage we should take. We jump to our survivability, up to 165 millimeters of armor, 9.8 second reload, and 16.5 kilometer firing range with our 152 millimeter guns. Obviously, there's no AA defense, there's no aircraft really, so AA defense isn't really a thing. 31 knots, so it is a little bit slow for a tier 6 cruiser, but it does have a very good turning circle of 690 meters and a reasonably quick rudder shift time. Detectability by sea is just over 10 kilometers. And from the overview, it's an agile ship, nimble aim, so our gun traverse is pretty good, but modest guns. So the caliber of the guns, they're not massive, but we have a lot of them. So if you throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's going to stick. And with this particular ship, an awful lot of it really does stick. So that is the tier 6 Boise. Besides the fact we've got the repair consumable there, 666 hit points per second for 20 seconds, and reloads every 74 seconds, and we have 3 of them. So thank you very much for sticking with us. I do hope you enjoyed the Boise sort of intro and review, and well, as usual, until next time, take care.